There's a lot of idols, but this guy is brokenhearted because he realizes that that idol was the thing that's kept him and his identity strong. And he goes away brokenhearted. Now, we don't know. It doesn't indicate that he ever gave it all away and followed Jesus. But what he really needed was to give everything away and follow Jesus. Mark says that as Jesus was walking along, this religious young ruler ran up to him. So this is a significant guy. It's a burning heart question. It's not a casual, but this is an important thing. He ran up to him and he fell at his feet. So this is a significant moment. We don't know anything more about this guy than this text. We can imagine that this is the burning heart question for him. And as he runs up to Jesus and falls before him, he asks a very sincere question. It's not a smokescreen. Jesus, you're a religious teacher. I acknowledge that. So here's my question. What good deed must I do? What is the thing that I lack in my life? I want eternal life. Now today we might phrase it differently. In our culture, we'd say, what do I have to do to go to heaven, right? That's kind of how we would say it. What do I have to do to go to heaven? Now what Jesus didn't say is alarming, right? He didn't say, read the 4 spiritual laws and pray the prayer at the end of the book, okay? I'm not against that. I love that. That's helped a lot of people. He didn't say, open up this gospel track and I'll draw a diagram of a gap and a story, and I'll share with you all these Bible verses. He didn't do any of that. He didn't tell the guy just to do more good stuff. What he gave was almost hopelessness as an answer, which is really striking, because this guy came up and he wants to know, what do I do? How do I get it? How do I secure it? I know I need it. I'm just waiting for that last piece to fall in place. What is it, Jesus? Well, at the time of Jesus, there was a lot of talk about eternal life. And eternal life was known as this life and the life to come. So there's this world, and then there's the world to come. And people were really concerned about the world to come. Now, maybe the flip is true in our world today. We're only concerned about this world. And so we build up great lives in this world without a lot of thought or reference to the fact that there could be a world to come. That when we die, it's not the end, it's the beginning of the next life, of the real life. And so it was really important, and the rabbis had a lot of talk about this, and people were really teaching about it. And so this guy asked the question, I want to know about the eternal life, and I want to make sure I get it, because I've been working really hard to achieve it, but I just don't think I'm quite there yet. And so he runs and he falls down. And this is what Jesus says. And he said to him, why do you ask me what is good? Do you ever stop and read Jesus' words and get frustrated with them? I remember this years ago. I just started in ministry as a youth pastor, and I got a little mad at Jesus because he never answered a question. I'm like, what is going on here? Anytime, read through the Gospels. Anytime somebody asks Jesus a question, he doesn't give them a direct answer. He gives them a question. It's like, is that a smokescreen? Do you not know the answer? Well, I know he knows the answer. Why are you doing it that way? Well, for one, it's a very, very important way to have a dialogue. Very Jewish way, Hebrew way in that culture. You didn't just answer it, you asked a question that ultimately got you to the answer. And what Jesus asks him is, why are you asking me? Why are you asking me what is good? There's only one who is good. Now, we would all say that Jesus is good, right? Okay, he's not saying he's not good. He's not saying he's not God. He's pushing back because this guy has a presupposition, and Jesus is pushing back on that. If you just give me the answer, I'll be okay. And I don't think that's what the guy needs, and neither does Jesus. So he asks him, if you would enter life, keep the commandments. Now it gets a little troubling because he says, if you could just create a checkbox and do all those things, you'll be fine. Not quite. Sounds like it, right? Keep the commandments. I mean, Jesus is not saying, I'll tell you the things you need to do to get eternal life. Sounds like it, but he's trying to get to this guy's heart because he knows what's stopping his heart from experiencing eternal life. And so Jesus, in beautiful wisdom, says, if you want to enter life, this eternal life, keep the commandments. Now, he's not advocating a religion. Religion is spelled D-O, all the stuff you do, right? Study any religion in the world. There's a list of do's and a list of don'ts, and if you spend your time doing the do's, you don't have time to do the don'ts, okay? All right? But religion doesn't get you to eternal life. A relationship with Jesus, that's Christianity, that's D-O-N-E, right? Spelled differently. Jesus has already done it on the cross. And he's not trying to give this guy a list. But what is he doing? Well, verse 18, he said to him, which ones? And Jesus, he starts quoting the commands. I just read that this morning in Exodus 20 in my Bible reading. And it's Jesus like, okay, here's a list. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This sounds a lot like religion, Jesus. Which ones? You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. Honor your father and mother. You shall love your neighbors yourself. Notice, if you've ever noticed this, the Ten Commandments are divided, not in half, but they're divided. The first 4 commandments are all about your vertical relationship with God. And then the next 6 are about your horizontal relationship with people. And so Jesus goes to the one with people, when in reality, that's not this guy's problem. So he's tricking him. We would call it a sucker punch, okay? All right? Jesus is, in kindness, he's looking at this guy and he goes, okay, well, how about these lists? And he gives him a list, some moral things. So here's what I would like to say. And this is my imagination. Okay, I'm just going to clarify that. I imagine that this guy has done a very good job climbing a moral ladder. Because he says, all these have I kept. What do I still lack? Now, anybody that's ever really read the Ten Commandments would have to admit you don't keep them, right? Anybody here kept all the 10 Commandments in the last week? If so, we got a sticker for you, okay? We don't keep all these. Because Jesus in Matthew 5, 6, and 7 says, even if you do it in your heart, you violated the law. It's not just the outward, it's the inward. And so this guy's like, I've done all that stuff. I've done a really good job building a moral life. And now this is how I see it, it's how I imagine it. That he's high on this moral ladder and he's close to the top and he can look down the ladder and go, look at all I've done. I'm a pretty good guy. And he's also climbed a financial ladder because he is a rich young ruler. And he's got all this wealth, we'll see, because Jesus speaks to that. And he's climbed this moral ladder and financial ladder, and he's almost reached the top. But on his journey, he's discovered he can't take the final step. All of those steps he's achieved, morally and financially. But in his heart, as he goes to bed at night, he lays there with his hand on the pillow, and he knows there's a gap between what he's worked so hard to accomplish and the final step. And he knows he hasn't made it. This is important for all of us because, this guy's gone to Sunday school. He's taught financial peace. He's got all the moral laws. He's a great guy. He's a good citizen. He's going like, okay, Jesus, hold on, check. I didn't sleep with my neighbor's wife. I didn't covet my neighbor's goat. I didn't steal anything. I've not lied. I've done all these good things. I've been honorable to my mom and dad. I'm a good citizen. I give to the poor. I've done all these good things, but I still don't feel like it's enough. But obviously God's blessing me, but I'm still missing something. And he says, all these have I kept. What do I still lack? I've done it, but I don't feel like it. That's really good. I would say it this way. What Jesus is going to say to him is that you've done a really good job climbing those ladders, but I can't give you the last step because that's not actually going to help you. I'm going to give you a new ladder, a different one. And there's just one step. There's just one step. So here's what he says in verse 21. Jesus said to him, if you would be perfect, which is the answer to his question, if you want eternal life, go and sell what you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And here it is, and come follow me. When the young man heard this, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. I do love how this guy comes to Jesus with all sincerity, and he falls before him, and Jesus just shuts him down, which sounds kind of harsh, to be honest. This guy isn't as close to God as he thinks he is. He's miles away. He's put his trust in his own ability to be moral and financial and achieve everything. And the closer he gets, the further away he actually is. He says, when the young man heard this, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Sorrowful is not the best word because it's not intense enough. The better word would be like grieved. He's heartbroken. I mean, imagine, he's heard about Jesus. Jesus is a great teacher, he's done miracles, and he's probably gonna have the answer to what I need. I've been working so hard my whole life. I know I'm young, but I've achieved a lot. I'm rich, I'm young, I'm a religious ruler. And he runs to Jesus, falls down before him, and he pours out his heart and he says, I've done all these things, but I lack something. What is it? And Jesus gets to the core of this guy's problem, and that is his idol of money. And he's grieved. I mean, he's heartbroken. He's looking for a next step, and then Jesus says, there's a chasm between you and eternity, but I've got the answer for you. Now, it's a good time to stop and take a few moments to talk about this. Jesus doesn't say this to everyone, okay? So if you're ever on Facebook, and which I was recently, God forbid, and somebody's like quoting this verse, and Christians are hypocrites if they don't take a vow of poverty. I'm like, I don't think you're reading the Bible, okay? You're reading a verse out of context. So Jesus is not saying to everyone here, when you leave, write the pink slip of your car to North Coast Family Fellowship and give us all your clothes and all your money. That's not what he's saying, okay? It's not what he's saying. But what he is saying, and indicating to this guy, is that all of us have an idol or idols. Tim Keller used to say it this way, based on John Calvin, is the heart is an idol factory. We just create idols because we all want something to make us feel good. But it's whatever idol it might be that is going to keep us from God. Now for this guy, it was money. For this guy. And for some of us, it is money. This is our idol. For others, it's food. For others, it's some kind of possessions or dreams or desires. It could be people. It could be all kinds of things. There's a lot of idols. But this guy is brokenhearted because he realizes that that idol was the thing that's kept him and his identity strong. And he goes away brokenhearted. Now, we don't know. It doesn't indicate that he ever gave it all away and followed Jesus. But what he really needed was to give everything away and follow Jesus.